Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to talk about init-only setters in C#9 and see how it works and how we can use it in our projects. So to begin, let's create a new folder and create init-only demo and cd into it. Let's CLS everything, and now let's create a new console application. .NET new console. If you have already installed .NET 5, when you create a new console application using .NET CLI, by default you get the latest version because it's a feature of C#9 and you can use it with .NET 5 and later versions. So our project is ready. Let's run it using VS Code. So my VS Code is running and let's see what we have here. We have a .NET 5 project, and with .NET 5 we can use C#9, and by default it is using C#9. And the feature we are going to work with is the new init setter. But before that, let's create a class. Use the snippet here. The class name would be user, and a user in our project has some properties. Call it string and first name and last name, and let's have age. By default, when you add a new property to your classes, you have a getter and a setter. That's make it possible that you can set a new value or get the value of a property very easily. Like if I come here and a new user, you can always use u.age to change it to another value, age to 50, and it doesn't matter, it works, because later if you come and show the value like this, u.age, you always get the last assignment, which is 50 in this case. Let's run the project, and so we can see the 50 in here and everything works just fine, and that's good with us. So this is how we usually work with our properties and classes, but it is error prone, because if you can change the state of a property at any point in time, you cannot really follow the logic of your project, especially if in a bigger project, in a system when there are a couple of developers working on the same project, and change happens every day. There is a new requirement, and to make it work you have to go through your old code, add some stuff, change some stuff, and you can never be sure that there's no typos, there's no mistakes, there's no bugs, because the state is usually where the bugs come from. And changing the state makes all the bugs in most projects. If you look at functional programming languages like F# or program languages that work in concurrency and parallel work like Rust, most objects, or by default objects, are immutable. You cannot change them very easily, because that is what is necessary in a complex world like parallel programming and concurrency. In concurrency, the state of an object is very important, and when it changes, it must be in a safe way. Otherwise, you get race conditions and deadlocks and all the other very nasty errors that you want to deal with in your projects, especially in your production. So to solve the statement problem, we can limit the mechanism or the cases in which the value of a property can be changed, and let's see what we have in C#. So I can remove this set and get the value of first name in my constructor. Let's add a constructor. Here's a snippet for a user. Is my constructor, and I'm going to ask for first name, and now I can set the first name like this. So now if I use the first name like this, and now I cannot change the first name anymore, like it is impossible because the property is now read only, and as you can see I don't have any setters in here, so reaching the first name after class initialization is impossible. That helps me with my project, especially in domain-driven design, where you want to really control the values. We can add a private set like this. Private set is good because you no longer at the same time you don't have the access to a property to change it from outside of your class. Like if I want to use last name, it's impossible. The only way that I can set the value of last name is only that I use it like this, last name, and I set the last name like this. So that's the only way you can set the last name, and I have to change the constructor again. But at the same time, you can change the value of last name inside your user class. And to do that, you can add a method like this. Add a public method and call it string set last name. And ask for last name and set the last name like this. There is no return, and now I can use the set method and change the last name. Let's set last name and save it. Let's run without debugging. So we have an object in here with username and last name, and later I change the last name to a new value, and that's what I expect to see. Let's show the last name instead of the age. So it works. So this is one other way to limit the access to your properties, and there are other ways too, but let's focus on what we started the video with, and that is how to use init-only setters in C#9. And to do that, let's change this set in here and use init. You can see that init is not changing colors right now in VS Code. It is a new feature, and I'm sure that later versions we will see the color change. You can use it perfectly fine inside Visual Studio Code or in Visual Studio. In Visual Studio it works and recognizes the keyword, and but in VS Code, at least for now, I don't see the color change. So this is a new keyword, and you can use it only when you are creating a new instance of a class, and after that there is no way to change the value. So in here I can add this and set the age to like 45 and save everything. It will run. Let's also right line the age, and let's run the project again. So it works, but after this instantiation phase you cannot change it anymore. Let's use it like this and put it like 35. It doesn't work. So when I hold my mouse here, you can see that can only be assigned in an object initializer, and that's not what we are doing here. So let's remove this line, and this is actually how you use init-only setters. You set it like this, init, and after that part, the only way to set the value is when you are initializing it. The good thing about the init is that you don't have to create a constructor value for it, like what we did with first name or last name. It works with the new keyword or like this, and you don't have to go through this coding phase, and that's a great thing to have. Of course, init-only setter adds a lot more possibility in C#9, as we see with records, which is what I'm going to talk about in later videos. It's not just this feature, but that alone is very useful in our everyday programming with C#. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. In next videos, I am going to talk more about C#9 features, and see you soon.